Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Journey to Greatness, day 147 of 365 with David McDonald, the GOAT. Happy Tuesday. Oops. Dun, 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 dun. Good morning, Liz. How's it going? Hope you had a good day yesterday. We got a couple other deals up in escrow over there at Tycor. So that's cool. Alrighty, let's get to it. My computer today is fully charged, so it shouldn't lose. It shouldn't turn off. So, alrighty, I'll see you on the other side. Good morning, Mr. Hopkins. How's it going? All right, so we just finished our meditation routine. You know, in the book actually yesterday had some really, really good points that it made. But that's okay. So if you're just joining us for the first time, we're getting into our reading routine, and if you don't have a book to read, then that's okay. Just go online, maybe on your computer, and find something to read, and yeah, I think we should be good to go. So I'll see you guys on the other side. Excuse me. Alrighty, welcome back. Welcome back. So we just finished our reading routine. And now we're getting into our journaling routine. So if you're joining us for the first time, feel free to grab to grab a piece of paper or a notebook that you wish to designate to your journey to greatness. Good morning, Don. How's it going? Good morning. Good morning. That you wish to dedicate to your journey to greatness. What I usually like to start with is writing about what I'm most grateful for. And in the morning, that's waking up and having and being in exceptional health. And then I just continue to write about other things that I'm grateful for, other successes, and show my appreciation and respect to yesterday, things that happened to me yesterday. I write about those things and, future goals that I wish to hold for myself today and then, anytime in the future. So plenty of things to write about, I'm sure. But nonetheless, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And I'll see you guys on the other side. Okay. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Marcus, what's up, bro? How you doing? I'm so glad you could check in. Love you, bro. Um, okay, I don't have too much on this chapter, except for one thing. Okay. So the book talks about pretty much the sixth sense. So the sixth energy that we have that um the sixth energy that we have that allows us to take our lives to the next level. And then it goes through a series of mind stimuli. And we talked about the mind stimuli. So pretty much our bodies function off of stimulation, emotional stimulation, right? And that's what usually guides us on our path when we're making decisions. So when brain action has been stimulated through one or more of the 10 mind stimulants, it has the effect of lifting the individual far above the horizon of ordinary thought and permits him to envision distance, scope, and quality of thoughts not available on the lower plane, such as that occupied while one is engaged in the solution of the problems of business and professional routine. When lifted to this higher level of thought, through any form of mind stimulation, an individual occupies relatively the same position as one who has ascended in an airplane to a height from which he may see over and beyond the horizon line, which limits his vision while on the ground. Moreover, while on this higher level of thought, the individual is not hampered or bound by any of the stimuli which circumscribe and limit his vision while wrestling with problems of gaining the three basic necessities of food, clothing, and shelter. He is in a world of thought in which the ordinary workaday thoughts have been as effectively removed as are the hills and valleys of other limitations of physical vision when he rises in an airplane. While on this exalted plane of thought, the creative faculty of the mind is given freedom for action. The way has been cleared for the sixth sense to function. It becomes receptive to ideas which could not reach the individual under any other circumstance. The sixth sense is the faculty which makes the difference between a genius and an ordinary individual. The creative faculty becomes more alert and receptive to vibrations originating outside the individual's subconscious mind. The more this faculty is used, and the more the individual relies upon it and makes demands upon it for thought impulses. This faculty can be cultivated and developed only through use. That which is known as one's conscious operates entirely through the faculty of the sixth sense. So, tapping into the sixth sense. Okay, so this short segment that I'm going to talk about talks about tapping into the sixth sense and using sex as the highest form of stimulation, transmuted into energy to help you achieve genius. So, which is interesting to me, very, very interesting. Why is it interesting? I'm going to get to that right now. So, in order to be lifted to higher thought or to use your sixth sense and to tap into your highest form of consciousness, the brain requires stimulation, and there's a lot of different ways that the mind can be stimulated. Thing is when you enter like throughout most of the day, like for example, for throughout most of the day, I'm in la la land. I'm in creative mode. And there's only certain circumstances when I have to come back down to earth in my mind, right? And when I'm in la la land, because my most productive hours are between 5 and like 1. That's usually when most of my creation happens. It used to be that I used to do it at night, so I'd be up really late. But then I had to retransition my mindset to change that energy flow into something that happens in the morning, because I wanted to become a morning person. I wasn't always a morning person. So, but during those times, so define that first, right? So define which space that you wish to operate in. But during those times, I am I had a meeting yesterday in the morning, and it was a very interesting, like, creative energy place that I was coming from. I didn't really know how to express my thoughts, but I knew, but I had like a feeling of something else. It was just really interesting space to be in. But that's just my creative hour, and I have to come back down in my mind and dwell into the space of this so-called reality. And so when you're stimulated to a point where you've ascended like an airplane, like you've taken off into an airplane, there's only a few things that really can bring you down. And it's usually somebody else's level that they're on when they come to you, or when you go to them. Yesterday, I had a gentleman over the phone. I picked up the call, right? I had it on one of my lead sources for real estate. And, the guy was on the phone, and there was like a 1 or 2 second delay in between our conversation, right? So he would say something, and then I would say something. And, I try to listen a lot during those type of conversations, right? Because they're asking questions, this, that, and the other, and everything. Like the energy transfer was super weird, or was unconventional. And so he was like, "Oh, so are you talking to somebody else on the phone, or are you talking to somebody else in the room?" And I was just only talking to him. And, and I sensed that his energy was really aggressive. Like he was like looking for something to bite. And then I was just like, no, I'm talking to you. I think there's just a disconnection between our conversation. And, I was like, he's like, so, I was like, so which, how did you get in contact with me? Was it through this resource or that resource or this? Oh no, I got you on this resource, and I clicked the button and this, that. And I was like, okay, no problem. And then, but I felt like the energy and the tension in the room starting to rise. Right. And I'm over the phone, and I'm just like, okay. And then, shortly thereafter, I was like, so is this the address that you're asking about? Or this is the unit you're asking about? Right. And he goes, no. He goes, he's like, where'd you get that information? I just told you that I was looking. And I was like, whoa, hold on. So at this moment, I had to come down out of my sixth sense, because I was just like, whoa, like there's a lot of stuff going on right now. So I just took a couple steps back, and I said, hey, I would love to help you, but I can't tolerate, or I can't work in this space of energy, and you talking to me this way. And then he goes, oh, F off, you pee. And he totally cussed me out and clicked. But what little did he know, they actually record those conversations. So, if it's ever to come back, then that's on him totally. But anyway, so my whole point of telling you that story is there's only at that moment, I had to be brought back down, because I had to almost come down to his level of understanding and how he was approaching it to I had to come down to his level of seeing. I had to see where he was coming from, right? And the easiest way to kind of combat negative energy, or to combat energy that's not operating on your frequency. Not saying necessarily it's higher or lower, but in this sense, I feel like he was coming from a negative place, a huge negative place. I had to come down to that place and not dwell there, but I just had to dip my foot in the water and say, okay, now let's bounce back up, to, where we want to be or where we're vibrating from. And I think that's a form of like, that's an example of how you would maybe come down, in terms of, being in your sixth sense state, being overly stimulated with joy and love and positivity and everything that you got going for yourself, right? Whatever that is. And then somebody not taking you off course, but kind of trying to pull you into this other space, it feels like sometimes. So when lifted to this higher level of consciousness, you are able to do and create anything. And that's a really pretty and beautiful thing. So hopefully that makes sense, and is a good reference anchor for what it means to like kind of transcend to the next frequency. It's not, like I said, it's not really levels. Like, you're not better than anybody else. People are people, and we're all capable of being the greatest of all time, right? But at the end of the day, it's about what frequency and how consciously you're choosing to live your life. And that's a huge difference, right? You being a great person and you choosing how you want to live your life, and you choosing to be the attitude and the energy that you're wishing that you're exuding, is totally up to you. So, but nonetheless, we love and forgive, and you push away. So the book continues to talk about how, how sex energy is the creative energy of all genii. So genius, right? The mere possession of this energy is not sufficient to produce genius. The energy must be transmuted from desire for physical contact into some other form of desire and action before it will lift one to the status of genius. Far from becoming genii, hopefully I'm saying that right, because of great sex desires, the majority of men lower themselves through misunderstanding and misuse of this great force to the status of lower animals. So this is a perfect example of the art of life. Like, life is an artful, like, life form. Life is an artful walk, and an artful creation. And I feel like to look at sex in this way of transmuting the energy that comes from like a physical encounter such as sex, taking that energy and then transmuting that energy into a space that creates, into a space that allows you to create more genius or more creative, imaginations, is a really beautiful thing to shape. Because for me personally, it redefines what it means, other than sex being a compassionate and passionate and beautiful experience, right? Let's say, to transmute that energy and to use it for more than what it physically is there for, is a really creative and magical thought to me. And for the book continues to talk about how many men, and we're only saying men because the book is written, so I'm sure the concept for ladies is the same, or if women are the same. So all in all, I would say, the book talks about for men and women, hindsight, women, we could say that sex is the most powerful human emotion or human stimulant that we will ever experience, which makes sense. If you look at like all like a lot of successful movies, if you look at from early marketing ads, marketers used to put like women in over sexualized positions to sell like beer and like things that were totally irrelevant to the product that was being sold. They use sex to sell it. And it's everywhere around us, right? And in Europe, it's even more prevalent, but it's more naturalized. It's not so much like this, it's kind of like, I feel like the definition, it's a very interesting space in other countries, but here in America, I can say that here it's a little bit overly explicit. And in terms of the rating, and it's just an interesting space to be in. But what I will say is that is a fact, that sex is, the stimulation, the number one stimulation for all people. And that's why we see it so much all around us. It's a very interesting thing. But the book, tying it back to the book says that the most successful men, and I believe also to be true for women, are ones who are driven by, who have tapped into their sexual stimulant and have transcended that thought or transmuted that thought into, or that feeling into something more powerful of creative nature. And so, again, the author just continues, Napoleon just continues to blow my mind, because he's, the things that he's talking about here are just like, it's just amazing stuff, like we don't, like, if I'm not reading this book, I'm not getting this knowledge, and I think that's what makes this process so beautiful. And then, people who lack sex energy will never become enthusiastic nor inspire others with enthusiasm. And enthusiasm is one of the most important requisites in salesmanship, no matter what one is selling. Master salesmen attain the status of mastery in selling because they either consciously or unconsciously transmute the energy of sex into sales enthusiasm. In this statement may be found a very practical suggestion as to the actual meaning of sex transmutation. Okay, and this is pretty much another good example of what it looks like to transmute sex energy, or energy that you would usually be mentally be stimulated by, right? The salesman who knows how to take his mind off the subject of sex and direct it in the sales effort with as much enthusiasm and determination as he would apply to its original purpose. So the same energy that you would put into, having sex, you transmute that into something, in this situation, sales, right? That's what he means by would apply to its original purpose. Has acquired the art. Oh, there you go. Has acquired the art. There you go. Dang, has acquired the art of sex transmutation, whether he knows it or not. The majority of salesmen who transmute their sex energy do so without being in the least aware of what they are doing and how they are doing it. So that's like a whole new perception on sex that's been introduced, I think. And it's just an interesting mental place to come from, such a beautiful process just to begin with, and then to find other avenues to pretty much plug yourself into in regards to that emotional feeling that we experience can bring one to a place of over gratification in terms of understanding, what sex is and how it can be used to benefit you to the highest possible genius. And figuring out what it really means to do it, like some people's value of, having sex is lower than other people's value. Right. And, better for worse. Totally on the person who's, involved. But I think what this chapter, or what these few pages have pretty much, introduced to us, or reinforced to some of us who've gotten this already, is, that it is about it's a journey of balance between the two. And not only is it a journey of balance, but it's also a redefinition or recreation of how to look at the energy that comes from it, and just being aware of how that energy is being transmuted into our natural and our daily exercises or workspaces. So I think that's a solid place to end for today. Very interesting, totally out of the blue, but very, very, very intriguing information. So with that, thank you everybody who jumped on the journey to greatness and is on this journey with me. Everybody who jumped on the messenger board, good morning. Thank you for making your presence known. And we are on day 147 at 365 with David McDonald, the GOAT. The journey to greatness has been nothing but a wonderful thing. We're coming up on our 5 months in 3 days, 5 months of doing this. And we're getting ready to finish our 4th book. We're working on our 3rd journal. And, it's just been a very, very invigorating and inspiring experience for me. Tremendous growth, tremendous success, wrapped all into one package. And it's just been a wonderful thing. So again, we're coming up on the end of the month, so we shall get ready for our celebration. So anybody who's interested in going to that or doing that, just be on the lookout for a flyer. I should be able to launch one here probably, what's today, the 12th? We only have 12 days left, maybe this week or next week, and then everybody can, start getting their plans ready. We'll probably just do it at Joey's again in South Center. Or maybe somewhere up north, so it's a little bit more convenient location for everyone, but we'll see. And so with that, I hope you all have the best day of your lives today. I love you guys so much. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you tomorrow at 5 a.m. Peace.